So I think Abid's the one who has all the doubts. That you will know. He looks confused.
बर मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद सलावत बराए खुशनुदी इमाम ज़मान बुलंदतर सलावत
Assalamu alaikum, Fran bhai.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How's everything going?
Alhamdulillah, everything is fine. How about you?
Alhamdulillah, I can't complain.
So, Fran bhai,
Yes.
you always tell me this one thing that I realize is actually very true.
And what's that?
That Imam Zamana helps those who are in need, and he knows whatever is in the heart of every person.
That's very true. So what made you realize that?
Well, I had some questions about Imam Zamana, and I was just thinking over them when I ran into you, by his guidance, of course.
So what were you thinking about?
So, I was sitting with a group of people, and we were discussing about the situation of the world today, and how it's worsening day by day, and there's unrest and darkness everywhere. So, I don't know what's going to be the outcome of this.
Well, yes, Abid, but it's pretty bad. But we can't be disheartened by these kinds of things. Instead, we have to pray and do dua that our Imam reappears and he'll get rid of this world of its injustice and tyranny, and he'll bring peace and guidance to the world, every place, every nation.
Really, Fran bhai? Then I will pray for the hastened reappearance of the Imam as much as possible.
Inshallah.
But, so I was just talking to my friends, and they asked me this question about Imam Zamana.
Okay, so what did they ask you?
Well, do you know how Imam Zamana was born on the 15th of Shaban, 255 Hijrah?
Yes.
And Imam al-Islam's father, Imam Hassan al-Askari, passed away in 260 Hijrah.
Yes.
That means the Imam was 5 years old when he became the Imam.
That's correct.
So they were asking, how could a child who is just 5 years old be the Imam?
So what did you tell them?
What would I tell them when I myself didn't understand how a 5-year-old could be the Imam?
Okay, so Imamat is basically Allah's divine continuation of Nabuwat. So just like Allah chose the Nabis, He also chose the Imams. Is that clear?
It's crystal clear that we should not recognize those who are publicly appointed leaders like the Sahifa, but rather recognize those who are divinely appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the Prophet and the Imams.
Right. So when it's clear that Allah can appoint the Prophets and Nabis and the Imams, and the two are linked together, why can't Allah appoint an Imam who's in his childhood, just like He did with Prophets?
Of course, He can appoint whomsoever He wishes. But which prophets did Allah grant prophethood to at a young age?
Well, actually, there are two prophets mentioned in the Quran that received prophethood at a young age.
MashaAllah, Fran, there are examples of this even in the Quran?
Yes, actually, not just the Quran, but Hadith as well. Many of our aqaids, our beliefs, are upheld by the Quran and Hadith.
So what were the names of these prophets who were granted prophethood at a young age?
Well, number one was Hazrat Yahya, and the other would be Hazrat Isa. Now, for Hazrat Yahya, the 12th verse of Surah Maryam in the Quran says, Ya Yahya, khuzal kitab biquwatin wa atayna al-hukma sabiya, which translates to, O Yahya, take this book with strength, and we made him a Nabi in his childhood. And for Hazrat Isa, he became a Nabi when he was only a few days old. In fact, when Bibi Maryam took him back to her nation, all the people protested, and they said, what is this? So by the command of Allah, she remained silent. And she pointed to the cradle, and she said, this, by the grace of Allah, has been appointed as a Nabi.
Alhamdulillah, Fran bhai. All these explanations have helped me a lot. But I just had this one question, you know how the Imam was born in the 255 Hijrah?
Right.
And right now is 1437 Hijrah? That means the Imam is about 1180 years?
1,180 years old, yep.
So, I just wanted to ask that, can someone really be granted such a long life? Or did Allah grant the prophets such a long life just like He gave them prophethood in a young age?
MashaAllah, that's a very good question. So, Allah did give a lot of prophets long life. In fact, in the Quran it says that Hazrat Nuh preached for 950 years. And it's been noted in traditions that he lived to 2,500 years. Hazrat Zulqarnain, he was 1,500 years. The Imam is approximately 1,180 years, which is not even half of Hazrat Nuh's. Hazrat Adam, he lived for 930 years. And Hazrat Khizr is still alive today, which is just a proof that Allah, when He sends the Imam, can give him a long life.
MashaAllah, that's all very good, but did Allah grant long life to anyone besides the prophets?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's a whole list of people. The weird part in all this is that everyone who believes Allah is all-powerful, Allah is all-powerful, right? Everyone believes that.
Yeah.
And they also believe that Allah said, Shaitan, you can live for the time that I give, right? A long life. These kinds of people ask the question, how can the Imam live so long? If Allah can give life to Shaitan, who leads people away from the path, why can't He give a long life to the Imam who guides them on that straight path?
Very good. So I had another question. So
Well, wait. Before you go on, let's make sure you understand what I've said so far.
Of course, yeah. So firstly, we said that just like Allah granted the imamhood at a young age, He also granted prophets prophethood at a young age.
Exactly.
And secondly, we talked about how not only did Allah grant long life to the Imam, He also granted long life to the prophets.
There we go. All right. So what's your question?
So my question is, similarly, did Allah, or does the concept of ghaibah also
Exist for prophets?
exist for the prophets, or just for the Imam?
Okay, so for this one, I'm actually going to get you to do some homework. So, you have your smartphone on you? Okay, well, note this down for future references, right? In the book Kamaluddin, right, our great Shaykh scholar Shaykh Saduq, he mentioned the details of the occultation of all the prophets. So you can actually find that in there.
So, is there any benefit for occultation?
Well, we won't know what the point of occultation is until after the Imam comes. Just like with Hazrat Khizr, we only knew after his actions, right?
MashaAllah, you're on a roll. All your examples are coming from the Quran.
Alhamdulillah. Well, a lot of the answers did come from the Quran, but a lot of these answers should also come from the heart, right? So, imagine if Imam Ali was here with us right now. Imagine if Imam Ali was here, and suddenly he just disappeared for 1,000 years. And then he came back. Wouldn't you be excited? Imagine if he came back. We're talking about Imam Zaman, the 12th Ali. He's coming back. Right, so not only do we have to be ready, but we have to be excited, like He is coming to anticipate His return, inshallah. So, that kind of leads me to another point. There was, the people who say that Hasbuna Kitabullah, right?
Wait, what does Hasbuna Kitabullah mean? What does Hasbuna Kitabullah mean?
Hasbuna Kitabullah means the book is sufficient. The book is good enough, right? But Alhamdulillah, we're fortunate that we're followers of the Ahlul Bayt and we know the proper meaning and the understanding of the Quran through the Ahlul Bayt.
Alhamdulillah. But is there any other benefit of occultation?
Well, another benefit that it's a test for the believers, for the mu'mineen, right? So, people, they pretend to be religious, they pretend to be pious when the Imam is there, of course, right? The real test is when the Imam or the Prophet is gone. How will they behave? Will they be faithful to the Imam? Will they be religious? Will they still have that piety? Will they fulfill the responsibilities to the Imam's Imam?
That's true. Kids usually behave nice in front of their parents, but the real nice kids are those who behave nicely in the absence of their parents.
MashaAllah.
So I get that, but is there any benefit of the test?
Well, the real test would be, of course, but to show who is a true believer. Imagine if Prophet Muhammad was alive forever. Right? Imagine if Prophet Muhammad, he was alive forever. How would we know who supports him and who turns against him, right? The whole Battle of Karbala, that happened after. We wouldn't know that. We wouldn't recognize who the hypocrites are. We wouldn't recognize the enemies of Islam against the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt.
Thank you, Farhan Bhai, for all these brilliant explanations. But since we're running out of time and I'm sort of in a hurry, do we have any responsibilities in the Ghaibat of Imam Jamaat? If so, can you quickly list them out?
Yeah, but before we do that, you're impatient, but it's okay. It kind of reminds me of a story, right? So, once there were 3 men, okay, they're reading namaz, and one of them started talking in his namaz, okay? And so, man number 2, he says, talking in your namaz makes your namaz void.
Oh.
Batil.
Yeah.
Right? And so man number 3, he says, Alhamdulillah, my namaz is not batil. So don't be impatient. Have patience, inshallah. But I'll get to the point, right? So what are we supposed to do in ghaibat? Right? What are our responsibilities? Actually, one of our scholars, Sayyid Muhammad Taqi Isfahani, discussed 80 of these responsibilities in his book. In his, it's called Mikyal al-Makarim. Yeah, 80 of these, right? And I'll just list a few, just because I know we're running short on time. So, a few of them, and I think we should all note this down, just a few small things that we can do for the Imam. Is first, we have to gain a better recognition or marifat of the Imam. Right? Our brother said, read Ziyarat Ali Yasin. We can know who we're talking to, recognize marifat of the Imam. We have to love the Imam. Right? We love our parents. We haven't even met the Imam and we love him. That's that level that we have to be at, inshallah. We have to await the return of the Imam, right? Just like Imam Ali, if he left for 1,000 years, he's coming back as Imam al-Zaman, we have to be ready, we have to wait for that. We should read as many as du'as as we can, right? Aksar ad-du'a bitalil al-faraj. And we should make the virtues and discussions of Imam well known among the people. This discussion right here, this is what the Imam is looking for. Mehfaz and Jashans and things like that. We have to establish a relationship with the Imam. Right? So, how do you establish a relationship? Well, 15 Shaban is around the corner. You have your arizas. Write to the Imam. Say, this is troubling me. I'm having trouble in school. Things at work aren't looking so good. Tell him. Tell him about your troubles. Tell him about your hardships. Tell your Ghadeer, he's noble. He's Agha, Mawla, Master. He's everything to you. Tell him everything that's going on. If you can't do that, at least tell him in person. When you get up in the morning and you get in your car, say, Imam, I hope today goes good. Inshallah, with the help of Allah, you can help me. Just tell him verbally, right? We should greet the Imam every day. Wake up and say, Assalamu alaikum ya sahibu zaman. Very easy to do, right? We should have to read the du'as and ziyarat to the Imam, such as Du'a Ahad, Du'a Nutbah, Ziyarat Ali Yasin, all these du'as that have been given to us, right? Recite those du'as, very easy to do. And of course, there's a really, really short and very easy way that we can help the Imam, right? So, at the end of your salawat, we say, وَعَجِّلْ فَرَجَهُمْ.
وَعَجِّلْ فَرَجَهُمْ?
No. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Alright, I have to correct you here because you have to be careful. Wa'ajil farajahum means death.
Okay.
So be careful. You have to say wa'ajil farajahum, which means hasten. So let's all practice, okay? With a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa'ajil farajahum. MashaAllah, Hassan.
MashaAllah, Farhan Bhai. Where did you learn all this information from?
Where did I learn all this? There's Sheikh Google. You've probably heard of him. No. On a serious note though, Majalis Hussain, alhamdulillah, we have such great abundance of those. And of course our Islamic Dini classes, right, which we all should go attend, at least once in a month, if not at the very least. So may Allah, inshallah, increase our tawfiq for going to more majalis, more classes, so we can learn all these things.
Thank you, Farhan Bhai, a lot for all these brilliant explanations, and inshallah in the future I will be able to reply to those who try to make fun of our beliefs.
Absolutely, you make sure of that, alright? Inshallah. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you so much, Farhan and Abid. Abid played the dumb guy today. He's a really smart guy. He won 6 awards today at the Al-Hadi school. So, he's so smart. One time they were having a play and nobody wanted to play Shimmer. So this guy, all the kids, I don't want to play Shimmer. Somebody had to play the role. So the only way to convince him to play Shimmer is, okay, fine. You play Shimmer and you also play Imam Sajjad. He agreed that. He played 2 roles in one. That was someone else. That was someone else? I was confused. Sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I thought that was you. Thanks for clearing that. So now we have some prizes over there, and those are exclusively for kids. Who wants to win some prizes? Yeah, I see. Like what? Sajjad Master is raising his hand. So what we'll do is we'll ask a question. The first one will go to the guys. The second one will go to the girls, And we have 10 questions. Inshallah, after 10 questions. Yes, sir. Every moment is a kid. Some of these questions, I think the kids are going to need some help.
I got you, bro.
As a matter of fact, I think if I pose the first question, you know what? There is a question over here, and I will pose it exclusively to you. Okay? No. You raise your hand, and that's your question, and we're going to come to that. Can we get to the first question? We'll ask this one to for the kids. Okay. Now, if on the girls' side, if you guys can change your monitor from video to computer, then you'll be able to see the questions on the monitor also. So, inshallah, the first question, as you can see, is what will happen to the one who believes in 11 imams but does not believe in the imamate of Imam Mahdi Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif? Now, the first choice is he's like the one who believed in all the prophets except for Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Or Allah will forgive such a person based on that he believes in 11 imams, so Allah will forgive him. Or nothing will happen to that person. It's okay to believe in one out of the 12. Or the last one, wait till Zuhur and make your call. Now, who wants to answer this question? Who wants to answer this question? Who raised their hand first? I didn't even see. Ali Numan raised his hand first? Okay. Why do you think you say it? No, come on here. Come on here. Come on here. Come on here. Why is it A?
Because I read it in the study guide for Houston 2020.
All right, there you go. The answers have already been given out in Houston 2020, which coincidentally it's a quiz competition happening tomorrow at IEC. If you guys want to make it to that, that'll be a good program to go. Now, if you think this is the correct answer, how many people think that's the correct answer? Everyone's raising their hand. We can't give the prize to every single person, so we will go ahead and give it to Ali Noah. But I would like to invite, some. Sheikh Nashid to please come and hand out the prize, and I think Amar will help you out with that. So you can collect your prize
Loud
right away.
salawat for Ali Noah, please.
I think we'll go to the girls' side now. We'll ask. They have their own prizes on the other side, so these are all yours. So don't worry about that. We'll go to the second question. We'll ask the girls. The only way we'll know if somebody got the answer right is if we hear a loud salawat from the other side. So can we go to the second question? Okay. Man, how did these people get easy questions? Okay. What is the name? What is the name of our 12th Imam? Imam Mahdi Al-Qaim, same as the Holy Prophet, or all of the above? What do you girls think? We're hearing the... Do we have a clock on this one? Because this is way too easy.
10 seconds.
Discussing the
Alright, we're running out of time. Do we have a winner or not?
Already.
You have a winner? Don't know the answer.
See how women stick together.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, we'll go to the third question. I think one of the girls got the... wait. No, that's not your question, son.
Dude, I have two scholars right next to me. I'm good.
Alright, let's see. Alright, guys. This question is for the boys. Which of the below titles is referring to Imam Mahdi Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif in the Holy Quran? Baqiyatullah, Nasir, Al-Mahdi, or all of the above? No one's raising their hands. One person raised their hand. Alright, what's the answer? A. A is the answer. Anybody has a different answer?
No.
No? Are we going to go with A? Or do you have a different answer? Huh? I think we're going to go...
A.
Let's find out if that's the right answer. Yes, that is the right answer. Come on for your prize. Come on up.
A loud symbol for him.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. Alright, let's go to the third question. This will be for the sisters again. Why is it obligatory for us to acquire recognition of the Imam? It's because the Prophet said, one who dies without recognizing the Imam of his age has died the death of the ignorance. It is because one should try and increase his knowledge as much as he could, or is it because Shias should have information about our Imam in case non-Shias ask, or none of the above? What do you girls think? You have a mic now, so you can talk into it.
I think it's
Wait, that didn't even sound like a girl. I mean, that sounded like a lady, you know. Do you have like little people answer these questions, please?
Oh, yeah. She is a girl. What do you mean?
I'm sorry, we can't see.
Oh, you can see.
Can we recite a last one for the little girl,
She's
please?
a winner.
Assalamu alaikum. Just an announcement, inshallah. I think on Friday is going to be his Fatiha, so.
That girl's gonna find me in the parking lot.
You should find a new bus.
I owe her another special gift. Very good. I think they got the right answer. Good job. Okay, let's go to the. I think this is Sajid Mas's question is coming now. No, not this one. Okay, when was Imam Mahdi born? A, B, C, D. Ah, I think he raised his hand first, right there. What did you say? C? Is that the correct answer? 2:55 AH, 15 Shaban. What do you guys think? Anybody want to change? No? It's happening too fast. Come get your gift. Good job. I think there's a. Well, I don't want to say what's in there. Let's go to the. Which are the correct titles of Imam Mahdi? Jallallahu Ta'ala Farajah Sharif, Al-Qaim, Al-Muntazir, Hujjatullah. Yeah, this is for the girls. And all of the above. We got D. All of the above. That is the correct answer, I think. I don't know. So, yes, that is the correct answer. Good job. So you get your prize, and let's move on. I think.
Let's get one salawat first for us.
Yeah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. This question is for brother. How did the answer come from? Who's controlling the computer? No, wait. I got an idea. I don't think the sisters can see the questions. Can the sisters see the questions?
Yeah, we can.
You saw the answer for the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, you've already answered one now.
Okay, you know what? You know what? This is for the guys. Actually, we're going to have Sheikh Nashid make up a question on the spot for you guys. It'll be, that'll be fun. So he'll make up a question on the spot right now.
Okay. How many supporters is Imam Mahdi waiting for? Your hand up was first. Okay, salawat.
All right, let's.
Sisters, wait, I'm going to ask a question for sisters.
Oh, no, you have a question? Yes. Let's go to the next question. This one will be for the sisters. All right. This is a tough question, so we're going to have a very special price, I guess, for this one. So, may I be sacrificed? Yeah.
Yeah, B. Are you asking us?
Yes, this is for the girls. You already got the answer?
It's point of ba.
Dua Nidba B, that's the correct answer. Loud salawat for the sister Ghadeer. Oh, yeah. Alright guys, be ready. This is yours. Last gift, so be ready. Just raise.
Hey, no.
Hey. Wait till the question comes up. It doesn't count.
No.
What's the name of the mother of Imam Mahdi? A, B, C, D. Okay, he was first and he recited a really good qasida, so we have to give him a chance. Okay, we have a C. Janab Narjis
Hold
Khatun.
on. Okay, that's your question, right? Sorry, that's your answer. D, who's that?
That's the one of.
Okay, you definitely know. Stop.
So that's the, I think he lucked out with the Kindle. He's the one who got the Kindle. You all got some really good prices too, so yeah. Let's go to the last one. This is for the sisters. With which prophet did Imam Mahdi have the following similarity? A group of them said, he is not yet born. Another group said, he is dead. Some said he was killed. I think we have a winner.
Yeah, hold on. She's coming. She's shy.
C?
Is it C?
C is not the right answer. Now we'll go to the boys. No, what? We should take the Kindle from in there. We should give it to the boys. Okay, let's give him another chance. Yeah. Let's give him another chance. It's not C, so what is it? Another girl can answer it maybe?
D, Prophet Isa.
D, Prophet Isa. The D, Prophet Isa is also the wrong answer. I think we should go to the boys. Now it goes to the boys. Can you pass that gift over to us, please?
I think we'll give one more.
Okay, give it one more chance. One more chance.
A. I think it's B, but everything A.
We're having a little discussion over here. The people who made the presentation, they have a different answer and others have a different answer. Hold on. Maybe the girl already won the prize. The one who answered the D, we're going to give the prize to her. Whoever answered D. We thought it was Prophet Musa because he went... Alright. So... once again, I would like to thank each and every one of you who's come here and who's participated. Now, before we break, we're going to have a Q&A session later on after the food, but it's going to be too late. So we'll have 2 questions from the men's side, we'll have 2 questions from the girls' side. Okay? It could be anything from the speech, it could be anything from other than that. It has to be about the 12th Imam. I think I just want to get the questions started, if you don't mind. I just wanted to know that there is a term used, arham mutahhara, the purified wombs. Does this apply to Bibi Khadija? Was she really married? A lot of people say she wasn't married. We as Shias believe that she wasn't married. Some Sunnis said that she was married. So you mentioned she was married. Can you kind of sort of clear that out and let us know if Arham Mutahhara applies to Bibi Khadija or does it not apply to Bibi Khadija?
Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I think we were having this discussion outside with Uncle and myself. Allah says in the Quran Kareem, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, O you who believe. And believe specifically refers to the Shia of the Ahlul Bayt as believers, because Wilayat Ali is part and parcel of the word believer. But anyway, O you who believe, do not ask questions that others asked before you, and the answers would lead you astray. To begin with, the BBs of the Ahlul Bayt are too purified for us to even think like that. It's something we all have to come to terms with. We cannot even think that level about the Ahlul Bayt. What Arham al-Mutahhara means here, we have to take it in context with what follows. So we say what? لم تلبسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها. So you never wore the clothes of the najasa of Jahiliyyah. Now there was no such thing as clothes, but here what we mean is you never had the look of ignorance on you, you never hung around with that kind of people, you were different. Arham al-Mutahhara here means that not the womb itself is pak, which by technical terms the womb is pak anyway, because that's where life is made. But the sense or the essence of Arham al-Mutahhara here means you never came from a single womb of a woman who did not have Tawheed in Allah. So from our mother Eve, right down to Bibi Khadija alayhi salam Allah, right down to Sayyidina Nisa al-Alameen, right down to the mother of Imam Zamana, not one of their lineage was, neither father nor mother had any doubt in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Nabi Ibrahim said to him, وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِي, O Allah, will you make imams from my dhurriyyah, from my lineage? Allah's only response was, لَا يَنَالُ عَهْدِيَ الظَّالِمِينَ. All those who have done any dhulm on themselves or others will never reach, my covenant will never reach them. So here it's from both. When we say, أَشْهَدُ أَنَّكَ كُنْتَ نُورًا فِي الْأَصْلَابِ الشَّامِخَةِ. You were nur in the spine of your great lofty fathers. And you came from purified wombs. It's talking about the tawheed of his ancestors, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in. So, but let's not go into the technicalities where they married, they sleep with their husbands. This is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not permitted us to think such things about them, because in doing so we bring them down to the normal gossip of the people of our own societies. Okay? Okay, we'll take a question from the sisters and then we'll come back to the brothers, inshallah. Do the sisters have any questions?
Anybody? Yeah. Can you come here? I think there's a question from there. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You mentioned something about Bibi Khadija having been married before she married Prophet Muhammad. Could you please clarify a little more on it? I mean, was she married before, and if she was, because a lot of ladies here have confusion. As per my own readings, I think she was married twice, and her marriage with Prophet Muhammad was her third marriage.
According to most of the traditions, she was married. Some traditions say that her husband passed away. Other traditions don't really go into the specifications. But she was married. Technically, you see, we need to come away from this Desi mentality that, again, this is exactly what I was alluding to when I was saying, you know, if a woman is divorced in the community, we frown upon that. The fact that she was married is halal. Marriage is halal. So she has not, na'uzubillah, committed anything haram. And you know, we say, oh, because she was married and then she married Rasulullah. No. It's got nothing to do, we shouldn't go down that side just because she was married, like that is something wrong with her. She was married, that's halal. That's halal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Pure and simple. Whether her husband died, or whether she was divorced, or whether she had any children or not, it's irrelevant, because what's important to us is that she was married to Rasulullah, that's undisputed. Rasulullah is and was, and so was Allah. They were fully aware of whether she was or she was not married. So these are trivial things that we get involved in, which I don't think are too important. However, I was referring to the idea that if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to the books which we have that say Bibi Khadija alayhi salamullah was married before, then what's the problem with women in our community being divorced today? Divorce is not haram and marriage is not haram. So what I'm saying is we should come away from this taboo, you know, that because someone was married before or because someone was divorced, they become untouchables in our society, you know. But again, as you correctly said, there are narrations that say Bibi Khadija alayhi salamullah was married actually twice. Some just say once. The truth of the matter is, we can say for sure that she was married to Rasulullah in the end of it, and that was the last marriage of her life. And it's noteworthy, yarhamukumullah, it's noteworthy to mention that Bibi Khadija was the only love marriage for Rasulullah, because he married her even before he was a prophet. Whereas all the marriages after Bibi Khadija alayhi salamullah were marriages as per the dictation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for political reasons and for the salvation of the society at the time, number one. Number two, the marriage to Bibi Khadija alayhi salamullah by Rasulullah, he never had a second wife while Bibi Khadija was alive. Just like Imam Ali never had a second wife while Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salamullah was alive. These are what we call love marriage. And you know, a lot of people, men these days, come around and say, oh, if Rasulullah can have 9 wives, why can't I have 9 wives? You know, well, if your first wife was your love marriage and no one forced you, you don't really have a justification. Islamically, it's permissible, but you can't use that as an example. Because in love marriage, the Prophet never married a second wife. He never took a second wife whilst he was married to Bibi Khadija alayhi salamullah. According to Sahih Bukhari, narrates Aisha herself that she said to the Prophet, why are you still, because the Prophet, even after Bibi Khadija passed away, he would send food to the friends of Bibi Khadija. So all the wives of the Prophet went to Aisha and said to her, speak to the Prophet and tell him, why does he still think about a woman who was old, you know, she was married before him, all these things that we say, you know. We say we're the Shia of Ali, but we think like the other team. So, you know, they come up with all these ideas, why? So Rasulullah, Aisha says to him, why are you still grieving over her when Allah compensated you with a better wife, a younger wife, and a more beautiful wife? So Rasulullah responded, he said, by Allah, Allah has not compensated me for anything of what you said. For she married me when I was poor, while all my other wives came to me after I became Rasulullah. Number one. Number two, she supported me when none of the people supported me, and believed in me when no one believed in me, and Allah gave me children from her, but Allah did not give me children from any of you. So be careful and be mindful of how you speak about Khadija bint Khuwaylid. And that's Rasulullah saying those words to us as well. Be careful of how we speak about the mother of Fatima Zahra alayhi salamullah. Yes, you had a question, my brother.
Yeah, so I heard that after Imam Mehdi comes, so Imam Hussein is going to take his government, and after that, who's going to come? Like, is that going to be
Beautiful question. So the question from our brother here is, after Imam Zamana comes, is Imam Hussein alayhi salamullah going to come back? The answer is yes. Not only Imam Hussein, all of the Ahlul Bayt will return. And this is where I say we have to read ziyarah and dua. Excuse me, I had some biryani earlier on to give me the burps. That's why spicy food doesn't sit well with me. So the idea is when you read ziyarahs and dua in a language which you understand the words. What do we say to Imam? And remember, ziyarat Ashura, if you look at the sanad, which is the chain of narrators, Imam Baqir taught his companions. But what did Imam Baqir say? Salamullahi alayhi. He said, I heard from my father, Imam Sajjad, who was taught by his father, Imam Hussein, who was taught by Imam Ali, who was taught by Rasulullah, who was taught by Jibreel, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. So Ziyarat Waritha and Ziyarat Ashura and all these ziyarahs are actually hadith Qudsi. Allah is speaking to Imam Hussein. And how is Allah speaking to Imam Hussein? He's speaking the way to educate us how to speak to Imam Hussein. What do we say? Ya Aba Abdullah, Ushhidullah. O Imam Hussein, I hold as my first witness, I call to witness, Allah is my witness, and His Anbiya, and His Rusul, that's 124,000 Nabi and Mursal, wa malaikatih, and all His angels. I hold them to testify that I believe in the following. What? Anni bikum mu'min wa bi iyyabikum muqin. I believe in your imamah, and I have absolute certainty that you will return after Imam Zamana. Iyyabikum refers to their return to life after death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alludes to this in Surah Al-Kahf, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we raise them from their slumber, the people of the cave. For what reason? To show the disbelievers and the believers that the promise of Allah is haqq. أَنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهَ حَقٌّ. Here all the Ahlul Bayt say that this ayah here is referring to Imam Zamana being haqq, and all the Ahlul Bayt will come back to witness the government of Imam Zamana. Number one. Number two, someone asked Imams about, who is going, if only an Imam can bury an Imam, and we have narrations that say Imam Zamana will be poisoned by a woman who is from the hypocrites, then who is going to bury Imam Zamana? That's a very good question, yes or no? If only an Imam Ma'soom can bury an Imam Ma'soom, who will be the one to bury Imam Zamana? All the narrations say that Imam Hussein alayhi salamullah will be the one to bury him, and the reason why Allah has distinguished Imam Hussein for this merit is because He distinguished Imam Zamana to avenge Imam Hussein. When the call of Imam Zaman, when he comes out, what is his call? Under his banner, Ya litharatil Hussein. I rise for the revenge of Hussein alayhi salamullah, against, obviously, like we said, ISIS and the group of ISIS, who will be the only ones not to accept the imamah of Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hassan ajjalallahu ta'ala faraj al-Sharif. Let's have a salawat ala Muhammadin wa ala. Another question from our sisters, and then inshallah we'll wrap up.
I have a question. It's more of a concern than a question. Whenever we ask our speakers, even in the skit with just the brothers who did just now, there was a debate. Whenever we ask them what should be our role during the occupation of Imam Zaman, usually we get the answers that pray as much as you can and read this dua, supplicate more. Why do we not stress upon the most important thing, which is raising your voice against oppression? And why do we not talk about it? Because you see, if you go to Pakistan, there are people dying every day, right, left and center. And we Shias, we just sit at home and wait for the Imam, and we think that only Imam will come and save us. What are we doing ourselves? Because there's a very famous Urdu couplet that says, "Makhluq-e Khuda jab kisi mushkil mein padi ho, sajdo mein pade rehna ibadat nahi hoti." That means no matter what you do, you're in frustration and do whatever. But that's not ibadat of that time. The ibadat of this time is that you raise voice against tyranny, you raise voice against oppression. So what would you say about that?
I would say that's a very loaded question. Only in the sense that I prefer to take the lives of the Ahlul Bayt as an example as opposed to poetry. And that is not any disregard to what you have said. But when we look at the lives of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, during the time of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, Zayd al-Shaheed was killed in such a way. Zayd is the cousin of Imam Zamana. And he was killed in such a way that not only was he killed, his body was stripped naked and crucified for 4 years. Why didn't Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq do anything? And then Zayd's son also. And then the question is, why didn't Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam do anything? The question is, of all the Masumeen, only one of them, and they all rose against oppression, mind you. They all rose against oppression, but in their own ways. The only one who rose against oppression in a battlefield that resulted in his death on the battlefield is Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salamullah, and before him is Imam Ali, which obviously he rose in the battlefield, but the consequence was that he died in sajda. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to oppose injustice with injustice. Or I wouldn't say injustice because that's not what you're calling for, but you're saying to raise our voice. Why don't we raise our actions? This is one thing that the Ahlul Bayt were constantly educating us. When you are a minority, it's very easy for someone to victimize and criminalize you because nobody's going to stand up for you. For example, tomorrow's protest. There's a protest tomorrow, these people coming with guns outside a mosque. It's come to my attention that the Muslims have been asking for an open mic, they weren't given. But when they had the support of a Christian community, the Christian community was given the mic, which then they will pass on to the Muslims. So in such a situation, we find that sometimes raising our voice will only serve to be counterproductive, number one. Number two, it doesn't just mean that I should raise my voice. Because sometimes raising my voice is the easy thing to do. What about raising my amount of charity that I give to the orphans of the shaheeds in Pakistan or in Iraq and so on and so forth, right? You know, it's very easy to go stand for 1 hour in the sun. Death to Saudi Arabia, down, down, Saudi Arabia. We've been raising our voice for Sheikh Nimr and Nimr since his captivity, yes? How many of you would agree with me? What have we done for Sheikh Nimr after he died? What did our voice do for Sheikh Nimr? Absolutely nothing. It was a slap in the face. Okay. Sheikh Zakzaki. We've been raising our voices. What has it done? Nothing. So, it is about utilizing our resources to raise our voice through the correct avenues. And I'll give you an example from Imam Jafar Sadiq, as I have already given an example of Imam Jafar Sadiq. Imam had a companion by the name of Ali. And this companion Ali used to work in the government of the enemy of the Imam. And at the time, one of the Shia of the Imam was called by the tyrant, and this tyrant was known to have a sharp sword ready at his side, first one to do it. So when the Shia was summoned by the tyrant, he ran to Imam Jafar Sadiq and said, Imam, dua, give me a dua or something. Imam said, I'm not going to give you a dua, I'm going to direct you to go to a person. His name is Ali, go to him. He said, but that guy is the personal advisor to the tyrant. He said, go to him and tell him you are a friend of Imam Jafar Sadiq, but don't tell him publicly. So he went and he said, I'm a companion of Imam Jafar Sadiq, he sent me to you. I asked him for dua, but he sent me to you instead. So what did the guy do? The guy went and said, listen, I vouch for this guy, he's not a Shia of the Ahlul Bayt, and even if he is, he's no troublemaker. So as this guy is leaving, his life is saved, he turns to this person, Ali, and he says to him, Ali, how can someone like you, who works for a taqut, that is the dushman of the Ahlul Bayt, still be the companion of the Ahlul Bayt? He said, by Allah, I only took this position under the direction of Imam. Specifically for occasions such as this. By Allah, think for a moment, if I were not in here, who would have vouched for you? No one. So, if you want to raise your voice against injustice and tyranny back home, you are in the belly of the beast. Policies are made and sanctioned here in the US. My brothers and sisters, stop running after being a doctor. We have so many doctors. In our community, I don't think anyone should die of a heart attack, realistically. Go into politics. Go into legislation making. Run for Senate. Run for whatever you can run for, do it. And for our community, give them your 100% support. From these kids, if one of you tomorrow rises and says, I want to go work in the political system, nobody else rise. Let that one person go and do not be a competitor to him or her. Because there's only a handful of us. And if we can only vote for one person, we may all as well vote for just one person. If there's 50 of us, 25 vote for you, 25 vote for you, no one's winning. If there's 50 of us, let 50 of us vote for one person. Get into the system. Work the system to our advantage. That is exactly how the Jewish people got themselves away from the Holocaust to now being people who have APAC. We have enough doctors in our community to finance such things. We have enough wealth in our community to finance such things. We have enough intellect in our community to make a change for real in the political system. If tomorrow, or let's say in 2003 when George W. Bush said, I want to attack Iraq, if we had enough senators from our own community who cared for the sanctity of Karbala and Najaf, we could have opposed, we could have vetoed, yes or no? But we didn't. So Iraq got attacked. People with their boots walked into the shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and we sat here in our majlis crying. What does that do for us? Think of it this way, if anyone wants to come and tell me, America is a taghut, we cannot work in that system, let me tell you what Allah says, not what I say. Nabi Musa alayhi salam was in his own mother's home. Fir'aun was more of a taghut than any other nation that came after him, that to this day, we still, when we say someone's evil, we say the Pharaoh of our time. The Pharaoh became the standard for tyranny. To this very day, we still use that example. When Allah wanted to change the system which was oppressing the minority at the time, who were the mu'mineen. We are the mu'mineen today. In that time, Bani Israel were the mu'mineen. Yes? Allah did not say to the people, raise your voices or do this or do that. He said, if you want the problem to be resolved, O mother of Musa, put him in a basket. I will raise him in the house of Pharaoh, where he will learn the political system. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Musa runs away, what does he tell him? O Musa, go back to Pharaoh. You want to make a change? Go back to where policies are made. And tell him that he has become a tyrant. And tell him to give you back the children of Israel. And you know what? When we look at it, some people read the ayah and move on. They never read another story about Nabi Musa in the Quran. How do you think Nabi Musa got his people? Pharaoh said to him, get lost. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent famine, then the rain of blood, then the crickets, then the black death, then this, then that, until the people rose against Pharaoh and said, look, for God's sake, give him the people of Israel and let's be done with this. In the end, Pharaoh gave him. Musa leaves. Pharaoh didn't like the fact that Musa won, so his envy and jealousy made him chase him. But Musa never raised a war with Pharaoh. The situation was actually resolved. Musa was on his way out, and it changed. Someone may say, oh, but that's one example. I'll give you a second example. Nabi Yusuf gets thrown in a well, taken again to the home of Pharaoh, raised in the political system of Pharaoh. He goes to Pharaoh and says, Pharaoh, give me a job. Pharaoh didn't say, I want you to work for me. He says, Pharaoh, make me in charge of your treasury. فَإِنِّي صَادِقٌ أَمِينٌ. I am honest and trustworthy. These two qualities nobody else has but me. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was raised amongst the elite of Quraysh. Now, you see, I used to tell my dad, you know, why is Allah letting Saddam do whatever he wants to do to the people of Iraq? Why is it that, you know, the Shias in India are being chased out of there for whatever reason, and Pakistan, the Shias are being mistreated? Why all this injustice against us? You know what my dad's response was? Alhamdulillah, my dad's a very clever man. He's been reading all his life. He's a researcher. You know what his answer was? He said, because if not for that injustice, the West would never know the meaning of Imam Hussein. Allah did not let the tyrant, because we have a hadith, the tyrant is the sword of Allah. Use him to avenge yourself and avenge yourself from him when the time comes. You see, Saddam and all these other Saddams in different shapes and forms, if it weren't for the injustice, by God, tell me, who would have left their home in Pakistan? If we had good money in Pakistan and no Sipa Sahaba and none of these execution of the Shias, if life was good in Pakistan, why on earth would I leave all that good food to come over here and go to a taste of Lahore that doesn't taste like Lahore? What's the point? Right? Why would I leave Iraq where I have Hazrat Abbas and Imam Hussein? Why? Why would I leave Imam Rida? But that injustice that came to us was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying to us, listen, when I gave you the wilayah of Ahlul Bayt, I don't want you to be content and stay. I said in the Quran Kareem, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, travel the earth. But you people became too content. So I'm going to give you some mushkil, some masaib, which will make you move and educate the rest of the world. And change policies, and change the hearts and the minds of the people, and educate them on wilayat Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah. So when we came to America, we didn't come here to compete against each other, who's gone to Harvard University and who's gone to this university. We're Shia of Ahlul Bayt, for God's sake. We shouldn't be competing against each other. We should be helping each other. Instead of affecting American society, we've become affected by American society. We envy each other on who drives a nice car to Majlis, and which Maulana dresses which way, and how much Maulanas are charging this day, and how, who got divorced. No, we're supposed to affect them. We are the doctors. We have wilayat Ahlul Bayt, right? So it is very important for our youth, our brothers and sisters, get involved. I'm not saying you're going to get into the White House, but get involved in local politics, right? Run for local offices, start making changes, start implementing the justice of Ali ibn Abi Talib, so that tomorrow when someone comes and says, why don't you be like George W. Bush and steal from people? You say, you know what, I very well could, and the opportunities are there. But then I think about Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salamullah, who didn't even misuse one candle. then people will turn around and say, oh, who's this Ali ibn Abi Talib? Now, we implement the saying of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, where he says, invite people to Allah's way without using your tongue. Actions. So, to my sister, you have a very valid point. We do need to do something against the injustice in the world, but I've been protesting since I was 3. And I can tell you, Palestine is still occupied. Iraq is still occupied. Pakistan, the Shias are still being killed. Right? What has my voice done to change anything? What of the thousands of